Hi guys, and welcome to today's task. For today's task, we are working on this balcony. Now, last year I did a video on how to install this railing and how to set it so it was plumb and square and make it look great. And then you set in these balusters, and that's the easy part. But there's one last part we couldn't do last year because it was too cold when we were putting this in, and that is putting the spacers in between these last balusters. Let me show you. Underneath the railing, there is a 4-inch kind of spanner that clips into the bottom of this rail right here. And it separates these so that they are at that 4-inch maximum separation, which is national code everywhere for railings. The balusters can be no more than 4 inches apart from each other, so that's what they send them as. That's simple, easy to put in. We broke a few because it was cold, but they all went in pretty well. However, these end ones you have to cut and measure because you have cut everything else. This all cut with the saw. These little separators that come with, you just cut that down to whatever this dimension's supposed to be. And when we tried doing that, they just kept shattering. So I thought, let's just leave it. We'll do it when it gets warmer, and we'll cut them to dimension so that we can throw them in. I've really liked working with this railing, and I will have a link for it in the description down below. But the only caveat is those little spacers, when it's cold, they are brittle. Now, they haven't been brittle as far as being in place. We haven't seen any break throughout the winter. So I think they withstand the cold very well. It was just they weren't as malleable to work with when it was that cold. You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying. So I'm going to show you what we're going to do today. The tools you'll need for this job are obviously the spacers. They come like that. You'll need a set of cutters, and I'm going to try these out and see if these work. If not, I've got other methods. You will want a level and a tape measure. So the first thing I want to do is look at our post. It's pretty darn level, so we definitely want to level this guy to it. And that means we may have to push everything over just a little bit. Going off of the bottom, which is a fixed amount, I can't change the bottom. It's cut where it's at. So we're gonna just plumb it to that actually. So that's 1 inch and 5/8. 1 inch and 5/8 there. What I wanna do is mark out 1 inch and 5/8 on this with my pencil. And then we're going to try cutting it with these to see if they'll cut nice. If all else fails, I can put these on like a chop saw or something, but that's really small, really tight with the fingers. I would like to avoid that. But if that's what we've got to do, that's what we'll have to do. Yeah, that looks really good. After you cut it, you kind of want to flex it just a little bit. Makes it more narrow. And then typically we'll fold right in. There we go. Now I can move everything over. Make sure our lines look really plumb. Okay. Now we do this end. I think I'm going to set these guys in the sun because I think that helps them a little bit to get them nice and malleable at first. There we go. Now that guy sits in there nice and tight. It won't rack anymore. Move on to the next one. Give it that little bit of bowing flex. Because once you put it in, it'll flatten out. Heat it up, get our little bow going. Push everything back against that side. Ow. While my cutters are working okay, it does leave a margin of error, and that margin of error actually can just amplify over time. For instance, if this one is an 1/16 of an inch off going this way, you add that up, it kind of magnifies over here, and it made this one off a little bit more than we want it to be. So I think I'm going to be done cutting with these guys. And although this will be a longer process, I think we can do it a different way. We're going to use the chop saw. And since my chop saw is down in my workshop area, I'm going to take measurements of the first like maybe 5 or 6 of these, and then go cut them individually, come put them in, see if it looks right, and then we'll do more. I think that's a good plan. Hi, Cannon. How are you, Cannon? Good. It's not really visible, but I've gone ahead and written the measurements on each of these. I'll cut off this end of it, so I keep my measurement so I know which ones it goes to. Got them all cut, ready to roll. Now we'll keep moving on to this side. Back to the shop. More cuts. Go cut them. Got them cut. In case you're wondering, this is how these pieces go in. They're flat and they sit like this, and there are ridges on both sides. I like to put just a slight little crease, not a crease, but just a little bit of flex. I don't want to crease it too much because then it doesn't sit tight, but just that little bit of bow helps. Then you set it on one side of that track, and then you there we go. And it's tight. And I wanted to show you at least on one of those middle ones, because it's almost impossible to show on these ones. Obviously we haven't had the railing that long, but the time we have had with it, I feel like it's going to hold up really well. It's lightweight, it's sturdy and strong, and it's easy to put together for a DIYer like you and me. And so that's what I really like about it. I will link it down in the description if you're interested in the same railing. It is the same manufacturer of the decking material we put in as well, so all that will be in the description. If you liked today's video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, and until next time, we'll see you guys later.